All right, guys, we are live. We'll let it breathe just for a second, and we'll see if Facebook plays ball with us tonight. It was not being very kind last night. Fingers crossed. We're going either way. I mean, they can get on board, or they can choose not to. Welcome in, everybody. It's the Mile High Huddle podcast. It is, in fact, a gut reaction episode. I'm your host, Chad Jensen. With me, my fellow football priest. You know him, you love him. He is Zack Kelberman. Zack, today, the Broncos officially made it official. Davis Webb is the new offensive coordinator. The quarterback's coach, as we surmised, if you're going to promote Webb to the OC position, you're going to need someone to fill his shoes in the day-to-day with the quarterbacks. Turns out Sean Payton promoted offensive quality control assistant Logan Kilgore. We'll get into all that stuff, but first things first, your gut reaction to Davis Webb becoming the OC.
Yeah, I feel like this made too much sense not to happen. I give Sean Payton a lot of credit for looking in the mirror and realizing what the problem is with the Broncos offense, and that's the play calling, and that's the offensive coordinating, and that side of the coaching staff. So you kick out a longtime ally in Joe Lombardi, and you replace him with a young up-and-coming assistant in Davis Webb, who is being courted by multiple other teams. The only question now, Chad, and it's important also because he's a great buffer between Sean Payton and Bo Nix. The only question now, as was before, is will he be calling plays in 2026? That I'm less sure of.
I'm especially less sure, and yet the subject, Zack, continues to kind of percolate as if there is like an air of expectation that it might really happen. And look, we saw a little bit what Davis Webb could bring to the table as an offensive coordinator. I want to say it was the second game. Yeah, it was. First game was Joe Lombardi preseason last summer. Second game, I think it was the Cardinals game off the top of my head, was Davis Webb, and Steady looked great, tore him up, put up some huge stats, but it was against second teamers and going against vanilla defense and whatnot. Nevertheless, though, it looked good. Then Sean Payton took back the controls in the third one and, was the guy from then on out.
Yeah.
How feasible, how realistic, I guess is a better word, should Broncos fans feel about the possibility of Sean Payton actually giving up from his grip the play call sheet?
Yeah, if I had to put like a mortgage payment on it right now, I would say that Sean Payton, not Davis Webb, will be calling the plays in 2026. But there might be like a transitional period now, Chad. Maybe he gives Davis Webb more responsibilities on game day or during the week. Maybe he lets Davis Webb call a few plays in a game and kind of dip his toes in the water without jumping in with his full body, so to speak. So I think it's an inevitability that Davis Webb will take over as the play caller, though in 2026, I still think it's Sean Payton's job, so to speak, to lose.
Let's talk about this with the Papa Bear jumping in with an early super chat. A dear member, Mount Rushmore, he's saying, good evening, Broncos country. Like, comment, and share. And of course, he's saying, giving some congratulations to offensive coordinator Davis Webb. And look, it's kind of hard to lose I should say it's easy to lose the perspective considering how in demand his name has been, Zack, in the hiring cycle the last two off seasons, but especially this one. But let's not forget, this fella is only 3 years into his coaching career. 3 years ago, he was still playing football. In fact, he started a game. He went basically from the New York Giants starting lineup to the Broncos coaching staff in a matter of like 3 weeks. So his rise has been rapid, which I think is why it's fair for some of these head coaching vacancies. I mean, who knows how close he was to, say, the Raiders job or any of the others, but for owners and GMs out there to kind of go, let's see what he can do. Give him just a little bit more time to ripen on the vine. But still, Zack, what a meteoric rise for a guy who was literally playing three short years ago.
His rise is directly tied to Bo Nix's and also Sean Payton's because he's learning under that tree. So they've been doing well the last couple years, and Davis Webb now is getting more eyeballs. But it's ultimately a young man's business, Chad, the NFL. And you always want the next Sean McVay, the next young up-and-coming wonder kind coach, and they might have that with Davis Webb. So I'm happy they're keeping him around for at least one more year.
Sam Bam jumping in, also Mount Rushmore, dear member. And by the way, Sam, I saw your email and I'm just realizing it now. I saw it while I was traveling, and on the t-shirts, in case you missed last night's episode, the Mount Rushmore t-shirts, the care package going out this week. So You'll probably see it. There's a chance by end of week, but probably over the weekend or beginning of the week. So just FYI on that, Sam, and all the Mount Rushmore superstars this week, it's going out. Sam says, though, evening, guys. Welcome back, Chad. Thank you, pal. Hope you enjoyed the Senior Bowl. That I did. Had a lot of fun with Scott. I'm really glad we're keeping VJ as the defensive coordinator and promoting Webb to OC. Looking forward to seeing what happens this offseason in free agency, draft, etc. Go Broncos. Yeah, not only that, Sam, but there are still some coaching jobs, vacancies on the staff now to be filled because, Zach, yes, you filled the Joe Lombardi offensive coordinator position by promoting Davis Webb. You filled the quarterbacks by promoting Logan Kilgore. But are you going to bring in a pass game coordinator again? Because that's a role that Sean Payton had filled all 3 years that he's been head coach. First 2 years was John Morton. He's available right now. And then last year, of course, was Davis Webb. And then on defense, you lose Jim Leonard, your pass game coordinator / secondary coach, to the Bills. And you lost your cornerbacks coach. We'll see if they just bundle that into one hire and just hire a secondary coach. And lest I forget, last thing, wide receivers, Kerry Colbert was fired as well last week. So, Zach, lots to look forward to still, not only in the next week or so with some coaching hires, but as Sam Bam points out, with the draft, free agency, all that.
Yeah, I would have liked, Sam, first of all, thank you for your super as always. I would have liked getting those 2 third-round picks for VJ if he would have got a head coaching job, but here we are, and I'm happy they'll at least have the continuity on defense, and they kept a high-value asset in Davis Webb as well. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to free agency and the draft, as you are, as Chad is. It's one of the most unpredictable and exciting parts of the year, and we're always down for it. So thank you again, man.
No doubt about it. Great to see you, Sam. Appreciate you, big dog. We also have here checking in. Well, first of all, Lady D gifting 20 MHH memberships on YouTube to folks in the chat. We love you, Deanna. Thank you so much. And I'm sure those folks are stoked. Tomorrow at noon Mountain Time, 2 p.m. Eastern, for the members only. Kelberman's Corner, hot takes that hold water from your boy here, Zack Kelberman. So look forward to that, guys. And then also shout out David Youngkin, who's been going through some stuff. But let's celebrate. He's been a dear member now for 5 months. And, of course, he's been a core member of the community for dating back years. So congrats and thank you, David. Hope you're doing okay, pal, and things are progressing on your end. We also have Shannon Mills, who did one of these in my Twitter mention so that I could go, oh, that's Shannon, follow her back. Guys, do that. If you're in the chat every night and you're also following, but I'm not following you back, just do this in the chat. I will follow you back. And if you're not following on X, guys, let's go. Come on now. Shannon, love you so much. She says, good evening. Glad to see Webb officially being hired as the OC today. It should be interesting to see what his role will actually entail. I like Kilgore as a QB coach to work with Bo. Go Broncos. Yeah, so a little background on Kilgore. He is a former quarterback himself. So I think, Zach, that's valuable that both of Bo Nix's up to this point, pro quarterback coaches were former players themselves. And Kilgore himself did make it to the NFL. It only lasted a summer. It was with Sean Payton's New Orleans Saints back in 2014. He got cut at the final roster cutdowns. Then he took his talents to the CFL, played for 3 different teams. About 3/4 of the way through that, he goes, while I'm still trying to make it as a quarterback, I'm going to try my hand at coaching. He went back to his original alma mater and did some OC stuff, some QB coach. Anyway, then he's like, I'm done playing. I'm going into coaching. And just as he was about to get full-time into coaching in the college ranks, Sean Payton, Zach, takes his head coaching gig with the Broncos and calls him up and says, hey, I know you're about to coach the tight ends at Arkansas State, but how about you come be a quality or control coach on offense for me in Denver? And that's where he's been the last 3 years. Now, over those 3 years, Kilgore mostly spent the time working with tight ends, working with the returners, but he's now moving into quarterbacks, which is obviously, Zach, an area of expertise. Oh, and one last thing. He was the quarterbacks coach and offensive coordinator for Arch Manning his senior year in high school. So that's just a little Cliff Notes version of who Logan Kilgore is, 36 years old.
I think what they're trying to do with him, they did with Davis Webb, is take a guy who is relatively unknown, who played the position, and work him up the coaching ranks. So we'll see maybe in 3 to 5 years if Kilgore is an offensive coordinator or head coaching candidate hire. But Shannon, I think Chad said it best with the background on him. Thank you so much for your generous super as always.
Guys, we have so much more to get to. But first, listen, Broncos country. It sucks. Denver didn't make it to football's biggest game, but listen up. The Super Bowl is right around the corner. It's, in fact, Super Bowl week. You can get in on all the action with Underdog. Not on Underdog yet? Then you're in luck because new customers score $75 in fantasy bonus entries when you make your first $5 fantasy entry.
Exactly. Playing on Underdog is super easy. Just pick whether players will go higher or lower on stats like rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and more. Get your picks correct, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. Plus, there's new promos dropping daily in the app. So if you like making picks and winning money, then Underdog is the place to be for the big game.
That's right, guys. It's a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer, and it's so much fun winning money while you're watching football. You've heard us say it before, guys, but it's an absolute touchdown. So download the Underdog app today. Sign up with our promo code MHuddle to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code MHuddle. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next?
18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
All right, guys, we go back to the chat. We got Greg Smith, who for all these years, most of the time we've been doing the MHH podcast live stream thing. He's been a Facebooker, but he's moved on over. He's heard our call to action. He's on YouTube. He's a member. He's dropping a super chat. He's a legend. Greg Smith, love you, big dog. Thank you so much for the support. And we also have here George Fox, who we've seen him migrate on over to YouTube here and there, but he loves Facebook, and that's okay. George, thank you, pal. Good to see you. He says, do you have anyone that you want that's still out there for running back or wide receiver one? Broncos for life, MHH for life. Hit the thumbs up, guys. You heard him. Zach, who is, like, if you could just make a wish. Now, keeping it within the reasonable realm of guys who could be got, whether it's trade or free agency or draft, who would be your genie in the bottle? Genie pops up, goes, okay, who do you want for wide receiver one? Zach says, who do you want for running back one? Zach says, what do you got?
Justin Jefferson. If I'm granted a wish from a genie, I'd like to make that trade, even though it's not going to happen. Too much dead money the Vikings would have to take on. But maybe Garrett Wilson, maybe Drake London, maybe Chris Olave. You could sign George Pickens, who's a free agent. There's no shortage of quality receivers, Chad, the Broncos should be making a move for. And as I said last night, I don't care if the compensation they would have to give up. I don't care if it's a first-round pick. Jalen Waddle's another one. They just have to get Bo Nix, a blue-chip stud. Running back, Breece Hall's a free agent, and I know he has a kind of an injury history, but he's a dual-threat runner, pass catcher. He'd be excellent in a Sean Payton system.
I'd like to see him, but I think it would be smart I think Eric described it as monitor the situation with J.K. Dobbins and his Bronco free agent primer. But what I'm doing is I'm going to him and saying, look, J.K., we love you. You fit in here. Awesome. We'll give you a 2-year deal, but it's all the guarantee, the contract is structured around playtime incentives and the amount, so it can feature up to, give him some decent cash, whether it's like $5-6 million per year, so long as he hits all of his markers, bring him in for 2 years and say, hey, we're also going to be looking to make other upgrades to the room. You're not necessarily grandfathered in RB1, but you're going to compete for RB1 and also look to make another high profile move, whether it is free agency, Zach, or the draft. The Broncos got to get Bo Nix some guys in the backfield. I mean, RJ Harvey, he's a nice weapon and especially handy, Zach, inside the 20s, but they need someone who can be consistent and reliable down to down between the 20s, I guess is the phrase I'm looking for.
Bring them all in. Bring back J.K. Dobbins. Bring in Breece Hall. Draft a running back. Let them all compete, and may the best men see the field on Sundays in 2026. That's how I feel about it. No rock should be spared, Chad, to be turned over to find help for Bo Nix.
Also, as Scott's bringing up, Scott covers the Atlanta Falcons beat daily. The Falcons have 2 free agents that should be on Denver's radar. Big additions that they would be, by the way, to the Broncos. That's linebacker and brother to Jonah, Caden Ellis, and the running back, Tyler Algier. So you've heard us mention Algier before. He's a guy in particular to watch for. And look, the Broncos have decisions to make. Zach at linebacker, Justin Sternad, you bring him back. He wants a starting job, kind of period, end of story. If I come back, I want to be the starter. Alex Singleton, what are you going to do there? But let's see what Ralph has to say. Jumping in on Facebook, the Brace Girdle, the man of the Brace Girdle clan. Good to see you, pal. Saying, I don't think Webb would have taken the job without play calling possibilities. He could have gone anywhere and had full OC responsibilities. Possibly, Zach. I'm not sure I 100% agree here with Ralph, only because what do we know about Sean Payton? Sean Payton has never not been the play caller. Sean Payton, in my humble but educated opinion, would, if it came down to I'll stay if I call plays or a go, Sean Payton would be finding a new offensive coordinator. That's my opinion. And look, I hope I'm wrong. I hope it ends up being collaborative where somehow, some way they both contribute on the play calling side of things. We know that obviously Zach Davis Webb is going to be contributing plays and game planning and all that during the week, but in game, who's calling those plays?
I could definitely see a possibility where he does call plays. I think there's an on-ramp for him, Ralph, like I mentioned earlier in the show. Later in the season, during preseason, more responsibilities during the week, maybe call a play here and there on Sundays. But for Sean Payton, making what he makes the second highest paid coach in the NFL or whatever he is now, he also just took his team to the AFC title game with his play calling. He's built up a franchise quarterback with his play calling. I'm not saying it's right, but this is Sean Payton's team. And in Sean Payton's mind, Sean Payton doesn't have to give up play calling yet. So I'm happy they retained Webb, and I still think he's the future, but the present still is Payton.
Ralph, give our best to everybody. Hope the Brace Girdle clan is doing well. Gene, Jimmy, everybody else. Matthew, yes, Descendants rule, brother. That's cool. Your first punk show, 97. That's awesome, dude. All right, let's see what else we got here. Ooh, Patrick McCracken weighing in. I'm going to star him. We'll get him in a little bit because it's kind of, we got this freaking Zeus McPeak in the house, dude. Zeus weighing in. He was the very first face that was etched in the MHH Mount Rushmore when we blasted it out of the Rocky Mountain granite. It was this guy right here that I recall Zach being the first ever person to drop a super chat when we were going live. We didn't even know what a super chat was. That's my recollection. And, granted, that's almost 7 years old. It's been that long. Isn't that crazy?
Yep.
Zeus, love you, big dog. He says, it's so disappointing watching Super Bowl week kickoff without the Broncos. I know, especially we were so close, dude, if Bo doesn't get hurt. But I'm very excited on the Broncos' future. Owners on down continue to make good decisions. Miami did the same and let Tua go. Love you guys. We love you too, big dog. Zach, what have you heard about Tua?
I have not heard much on Tua. I would assume with the new coaching staff, new regime, they don't have any loyalty to him. Stu, I'm not that plugged into the Dolphins beat, but I do think he's on thin ice there, and they will look to import their own quarterback. They have Quinn Ewers that they drafted. He didn't show much as a rookie. Whoever is the next quarterback, veteran or rookie, he's not on the roster yet. That's what I feel like is going down, but not our problem, fortunately.
We could check with our good buddy Alan, who covers them on SI there in Miami. But I'm just doing a quick search on Tua's name, and there is a report, Zach, that the Dolphins I'm not sure yet who the original reporter was that broke this, but I'm seeing a post here. It did get community noted. No, it's no reputable sources. Sorry. So there is a post that says the Dolphins have informed Tua that he'll be a post June 1st cut. And then it's got community noted saying that no reputable sources have confirmed that the Dolphins have informed Tua Tagovailoa of a release. So FYI on that, Zeus. Lady D, speaking of Mount Rushmore again,
Thank
here
you,
she
Deanna.
is with a very generous super chat.
Thank you.
We love you. She says, hey, Chad and Zach, super happy that Webb is our OC. Praying that Coach Payton gives play calling to Webb. I'm happy VJ is staying. Now we need a healthy receiver one, running back one, and a tight end. Where else do you think the offensive line needs help? Go Broncos, MHH for life. Well, you've got your entire starting five under contract set to return for 2026. That's huge. However, Mike McGlinchey, all his guaranteed money, Zach, on that 5-year deal he signed back in 2023 is basically up. So he's not a candidate for release. He's a candidate to approach him about a restructure and try and free up some money. Bob Morris wrote about this yesterday. Go give it a read, guys. But he's a candidate for that. Ben Powers is another guy who, most of his guaranteed stuff's gone. You could do some restructure stuff there, but only if you envision Ben Powers coming back after 2026. So to me, it's more like left guard future considerations. So what's your depth there? Alex Palczewski showed pretty well when he was called upon for the most part this year at left guard. But Zach, the biggest vulnerability is, God forbid. And I like Frank Crum. I loved his touchdown, but he's still very raw, athletic though he is. God forbid anything happened to Garrett Bowles or Mike McGlinchey. You need a bona fide, legit swing tackle, and I'm not convinced Frank Crum is it.
It might be just me, but I would feel a lot better if Luke Wattenberg at center had a little more competition. And I don't know. I still feel like the O-line was bullied a lot, especially in the playoffs, especially against the Patriots, Chad. I know that game, the entire team was off, but Bo Nix, this is my opinion. Feel free to disagree. Bo Nix made the O-line look better than they really were. They were really good, don't get me wrong, but Bo Nix's escapability and his pocket presence and his takeoff ability made them look a little better than they were. So I'll say center, the interior of the line. You mentioned Ben Powers. I'll throw Wattenberg in there as well.
It did. I'm not going to lie. We had heard how much the Broncos loved Wattenberg, but it did surprise me when they paid him the way they did during the bye. I didn't hate it, but I was kind of like, really? Is he worth that money for sure? But the Broncos are all in on him. And Forsythe, let's see, contract year Forsythe was 2023. So 3, 4, 5. So Forsythe in a contract year, you're going to have to decide what you're going to do at backup center beyond 2026. And maybe Zach, they preempt that in the draft this year.
I think that's part of the problem, though. Even though Wattenberg is locked up, he has no real fear of job loss. He has no one's really push him. Forsythe isn't an adequate long-term replacement for him, and we saw the drop-off in play. I just would like, if they want to pick up maybe a true veteran center, just to sit behind Wattenberg and push him a little more than Forsythe has been doing.
All right, there you have it, Lady D. We love you. Thank you so much for the memberships and Top Rope Super Chat. We are blessed, that's for sure. Taylor Christensen jumping in here, dear member, longtime superstar, saying, glad that Davis Webb was promoted. He needs to call the plays from now on or be given a chance. George Payton and AJ Pass.
George Pickens and AJ Brown.
Okay, thank you.
Room, guys.
Thank you. What would we do without? What would I do without Zach? Yeah, you got to worry a little bit, Zach, about the culture side of things with Pickens and AJ. You brought that up last night in relation to George Pickens. Like, what a dynamic guy he would be. Does he fit the culture? But then he goes on to say, Taylor, trade a first and a fifth rounder for Garrett Wilson. That's his solution.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Taylor. They're all fantastic receivers, and they would qualify as the number one, the true number one bona fide that Bo Nix desperately needs and doesn't have. But you're right to call out the locker room culture issues. They're divas, they're head cases, and when things go wrong, it really gets amplified. Garrett Wilson doesn't have that baggage. He's a tremendous receiver, and he would make a really good complement with Courtland Sutton.
I love the aggressive mindset, Taylor. Not sure a first and a fifth would get it done for Wilson, by the way, but who knows? I think the Broncos will be having those conversations and make at least, pardon me, Zach, checking on the status, what it would take, making a few phone calls when the time comes. So they got to get a few other ducks in a row first, such as fill these coaching vacancies, but The time soon cometh. Taylor, thank you, big dog. All right, guys, we still have a lot more to get to, but first, Valentine's Day, Broncos country, it is almost here. How will you show yourself and those around you a little extra love? Whether it's for someone special or just yourself, Cozy Earth makes it easy to bring comfort and care into your everyday life. This Valentine's Day season, we are offering a BOGO pajama deal you won't see any other time of year.
Guys, check out the bamboo pajama set. It's a classic Cozy Earth favorite, and it's the sleepwear upgrade that'll make you look forward to slipping into bed at night even more than you already do. Lightweight yet cozy, the soft pajama set helps you fall asleep faster and stay comfortable longer. Designed to drape beautifully and sleep cooler than cotton, it keeps your temperature just right without overheating. It makes for a great night's sleep.
You can try them out, guys, and if you don't love them, return them hassle-free, but trust, you won't want to. Cozy Earth offers customers a 100-night sleep trial as well as a 10-year warranty because once you feel this level of comfort, gang, you'll want it to last a decade.
These viral PJs are so good, they sold out during the holidays, and now they're back with an exclusive deal only available January 25th to February 8th. Head to CozyEarth.com and use our code HuddleBOGO to buy one, get one free. Get these PJs for you and someone you love. And if you get a post-purchase survey, be sure to mention you heard about Cozy Earth right here at MHH. Celebrate everyday love with comfort that makes the little moments count.
There you go. All right. Going back to the chat here, I wanted to grab this. I'm going to read it off screen because it's a long one. Patrick McCracken, always there on Facebook. He says, bro, Denver beats Seattle next week if they had beaten the Patriots. If Bo Nix was healthy, I could go there with you. I'm not sure, Zach, the Jarrett Stidham, even in a relatively sterile, good weather environment of Santa Clara, I'm not sure Jarrett has the quite enough sand, Zach, to get it done against such a well-coached team and talented team like Seattle. However, he says if Surtain can lock up JSN on one-on-one most of the game, Denver would win. The point there, yeah, I see what you're trying to say, Zach. Let's say, I mean, we got to face what the reality of the situation was. If the Broncos take the points, they got 10 first half points, and let's say Will Lutz makes one of those two field goals that he missed, and they win 13-10 and advance to the Super Bowl with Stiddy. How would you view that matchup against the Seahawks?
This is all like the verbal equivalent of self-harm, though. We're all just like opening up the wound and not letting it heal. I agree. If Bo Nix won, we wouldn't be having this conversation. And it's arguable that the Broncos should have won that game, even with Jarrett Stidham, Chad, who had the ball in his hands multiple times in the fourth quarter, down only a field goal and couldn't get it done. You never know what can happen in an NFL game, especially the Super Bowl. I mean, raise your hand if you thought the Seahawks would blow out the Broncos the way they did back in the day. But ultimately, like Chad was saying, realistically, the Seahawks seem like they just have it all this year. Their offense is humming with Sam Darnold. The defense is playing great under Mike McDonald. That's my pick to win this, obviously to beat the Patriots. And I kind of agree with Chad. Even if the Broncos would have made it, despite the any given Sunday mantra, I wouldn't have liked their chances with Stidham. Not going to lie.
For obvious reasons, Seattle Seahawks as a Super Bowl pick is one of my least favorites. It's akin to picking the Niners or, Washington or even the Giants. Like, those are the teams that obliterated didn't just beat the Broncos in the Super Bowl, obliterated the Broncos. But my hatred of all things New England Patriots, even post Hoodie, even post Tom Brady, persists. But even if I didn't feel that way, Zach, about the Patriots, just as objectively speaking as I possibly can, there's no way the Patriots win this game. Like, I'm sorry, the Seahawks have no excuse. No excuse. They got to win this game handily.
I would be really surprised if the Seahawks did not win this game. I think they're going to give Drake May a hell of a time on defense. I think they're going to force multiple turnovers. And I wasn't that impressed with the Patriots. They played well on defense, but if the Broncos had their quarterback, and by the way, their starting running back, that would have been a lot different. I do think Seattle wins this game and they win it handily, though I don't like it either. Patriots trolls and Seahawks trolls have been in my mentions for a while now, months. So it's kind of a lose-lose around these parts.
It's like Scott said, during the gut reaction episode after the AFC title game. We still don't know how good the Patriots really are. Like, give them credit. They won those 2 playoff games at home, but they got it easy, man, in the AFC title game. Again, credit. They went on the road, won in the elements, but they got so lucky that Bo Nix was lost for the season a week before. So we still don't know how good they are. So I guess in that sense, there is the chance that they could swoop in under the radar, Zach, kind of, and surprise everybody against the Seahawks. I think it'll be semi-competitive first half, and then you'll see the Seahawks really pull away in the second. Glenn, I'm going to read your comment here off screen. Thank you so much, buddy. And then we got a couple supers. He says, Chad, Zach, and Broncos country, been hearing some rumblings. The Vikings are going to have to trade some players with their cap issues. I'd love to see us go after TJ Hawkinson. Then we could spend on the wide receiver like Waddle, Pickens type, or Breece Hall. Justin Jefferson might be a reach on the current deal unless we redid his deal. Thoughts? MHH for life, state of being, Super Bowl. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that, Zach?
As someone who knows Hawkinson from having him in fantasy the last couple of years, I think he's on the downside now. I think he's getting older. His injury history is starting to stack up. I don't want the Broncos to go in that direction. They kind of went in that direction with Evan Ingram, and that Joker role never materialized. So I don't know who the answer is at tight end. I haven't really thought about that. Maybe they acquire Kyle Pitts or someone like that. We were talking about Atlanta players, but they need someone dynamic that can stretch the field and catch passes and doesn't have an injury history. Who that is, I don't know quite yet.
And it appears Evan Ingram is at least expecting to come back. I do expect him back, but you never know. You never know. He was a disappointment relative to the expectations with his contract, but then again, finished third on the team in receiving, but we know it could and should be, guys, so much better at tight end. We've got the Duchess checking in, Michaela Parker, and her symbol is pretty clear with her YouTube profile pic. She's pining for Bo's return, and rejoice, Michaela, because he'll be back in May, just in time for the off-season training program to really kick off in earnest, and he'll be good to go for the season. So that's the good news. We love you. She says, so happy for Webb. I think Webb and Sean will share play calling. And yes, the Pats will get killed. Yeah, man, it'll be interesting to see, Zach, as she points out here, like, is it going to change at all? Because I think personally, and this is not me saying what I want to happen, I'm telling you what I think is happening. Sean Payton brought him back probably with no assurances whatsoever about play calling. It was simply, hey, man, you had some bites at the apple, head coach consideration, a few different places. Obviously, none of them really came through, probably because from a duties and responsibility perspective and your relative experience as a coach, teams want to see you do how you perform in a slightly higher profile slot. So I'm going to give you offensive coordinator this year. And then maybe that does enough to get you over the hump in the next coaching cycle. But I could be wrong. But Sean Payton's been coaching the plays, man, since even before, or calling the plays since before 2006 when he became head coach of the Saints.
And first of all, Michaela, thank you so much. For as much as we talk about, or I talk about Sean Payton maybe having that come to Jesus moment with himself in the mirror, I think the ego will win out and he'll realize like his play calling led him with the quarterback he hand selected to the AFC title game. And the out that he has in there, the plausible deniability was, well, I was saddled with Jarrett Stidham. I didn't have my starting quarterback. I had my backup. And what do you want me to do? And Stidham turned the ball over. But I do think you're right, Michaela. And as I mentioned before, there's going to be some sort of on-ramp for Webb to handle play calling. It'll start incremental. It'll start small, but I think Sean trusts him enough to give him this role, and Sean will trust him enough to give him the play calling. He is the future. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm excited for him, and I'm really interested to see how it looks with Kilgore as the quarterback's coach. I mean, obviously, Zach, like if you go back and so when we have to write up an article on a given topic, all right, the resource we use for images, if you search Bo Nix or Joe Lombardi as an example, that's the reason I haven't brought this up. You're going to have a hard time finding any images directly of him in a Broncos uniform. However, if you search Bo Nix training camp Bo Nix OTAs. There are so many shots of Bo Nix going through his reps, and right behind him, standing overwatching everything, was Joe Lombardi. So Davis Webb, aside from the obvious, he's the offensive coordinator, is going to be intimately involved, Zach, still with Bo in the quarterback room. But I'm real curious to see how it looks with Kilgore, and I'm excited for it, actually, because, again, former quarterback himself, so he's got that credibility, can speak the lingo, he's walked the walk, he's had to talk the talk and walk the walk. I'm interested and excited for Kilgore as well.
And remember the 2024, the infamous sideline little exchange, the heated exchange between Sean Payton and Bo Nix. Who was in the middle of that? Davis Webb. And whose side did Davis Webb take? Bo Nix's. And he, fought back for him. He talked back to Sean Payton in defense of his quarterback for Bo Nix. Now, if you think back a year before that, when Sean Payton went off on Russell Wilson, Davis Webb was also there. Davis Webb did the same thing that Russell Wilson did. Just stared at the ground and took it. Didn't go to bat for him. There's a big difference in that, Chad, and it's important having that buffer between player and head coach.
Michaela, we love you so much. The ladies of MHH once again showing out on this Monday night. We got Maddington85 checking in on Super Chat. Thank you, big dog. Really appreciate your support. Says Zach kind of looks like Davis Webb. Yeah, I can kind of see it. Have we ever seen both of them in the same room? Oh, wait a minute, Zach. The secret's getting out. Oh, dude.
I got to go, guys.
Good show and content, guys. Keep it up. Thank you, Matt. Really appreciate you, big dog. And he might have sniffed out the secret, Zach.
Yeah, I mean, next I'll take his salary. That'd be nice, but appreciate that, Mattingly?
Right.
What was it?
Maddington.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, big dog. All right, guys, lots more to get to. There's still a ton of conversation to be had, but listen, guys, Broncos country, never before has online privacy been more important. That is where Surfshark comes in, and it's an absolute game changer. Surfshark is a virtual private network which covers all your online activity. Using a VPN, guys, it's like wearing pants. All the important stuff stays private and secure when you walk out that door. Once your device connects to the internet, all the information is encrypted, which keeps your online activity hidden from all the snoopers and trackers.
Guys, raise your hand if, like me, you've searched something kind of random, like prices on a Broncos jersey, and next thing you know, you're getting jersey ads every time you open one of your social media apps or browse online. Thankfully, today's sponsor, Surfshark VPN, can help us out with that. A VPN allows me to mask my real IP address so that my online activity is no longer being tracked.
They also offer Surfshark Alert, and it's absolutely indispensable. The only thing, guys, scarier than forgetting a password is finding out that a password has been leaked online somewhere. The Surfshark Alert feature can help with this by constantly scanning the web for your personal info. We're talking things like your email address, passwords, even credit card details, and it sends you an instant alert if any of them appear in a data breach. It can be a lifesaver.
So take control of your online privacy and protect yourself against data breaches by signing up with Surfshark VPN. It comes with a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to surfshark.com/milehigh or go to surfshark.com and use our code milehigh at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. Again, that's surfshark.com/milehigh with our code milehigh. And by the way, the URL and code can also be found in our show's notes below.
Super stoked to have Surfshark in the house as a sponsor. An amazing, amazing service. We got the original Dizzy D checking in on Super Chat. Good to see you, pal. Saying draft tight end Sadiq out of Oregon. The perfect joker. Yeah, dude. He is a very interesting player. I'm working to pull up his stats real quick. Obviously, a lot more goes into analyzing Kenyon Sadiq than just his stats. But Zach, this past season, 51 receptions, 560 yards, 8 touchdowns.
I saw a mock draft. I think it was PFF that had Sadiq out of the first round. And it had the Broncos taking a safety at 30. So I don't know what they were thinking there, but I would like this pick a lot, Dizzy. It's hard to tell now in February where they're going to go. It depends how they address these needs in free agency and stuff. But if they don't do that, I would like a lot for them to target another pass catching weapon for Bo Nix and Sadiq.
We got Lady D jumping in again off the top rope for one of these. Whoo, bam. Thank you so much, Deanna. I mean, you are so awesome and generous. And this time of year, you heard me say it last night, this time of year, it really does help us keep the lights on as things kind of start slowing down. A lot of the Broncos readers and listeners, they kind of take a break for a while and check back intermittently. So you help us out tremendously. We love you.
Yep.
She says, going to be a blowout Seattle victory. Bummer for sure. I agree with Zach. We need to get a really great center. And as both of you said, shore up the line for the next runner-up. Can't wait for the draft to start. My opinion, Sean Payton is having issues getting calls in. So Webb to call plays. I think maybe was that what she was going to say? That was an issue at times, Zach. It has been the 2 years, really all 3 years that Sean Payton has been the head coach. Russ had problems with it. Lots of delay of games, unnecessary timeouts. It's been an issue, not as bad, especially in 2025. It's been an issue, though, with Bo Nix as well. Part of that, though, is the lingo of the
Right.
playbook and the system.
Right.
And it doesn't matter who's calling those plays. The lingo is the lingo. It comes in through the the ears, the headphones, whatever in the helmet, and Bo Nix has to just regurgitate and spit out. Question is, can you get those play calls in earlier in the sequence? And I think that's something the Broncos, as an area of improvement, can certainly focus on.
That's exactly it. Yeah, the play calls are like 45 seconds long. And there was a great shot of Bo Nix in the huddle in his rookie season looking back at the sideline while the play call was still being delivered. Like, he looked like, are you kidding me? It's really like this. So I think you're onto something, Deanna, because if you ever heard Sean Payton speak publicly, he's a very kind of belabored speaker, a lot of ums and stops and starts, very slow at times. Maybe Davis Webb speaks faster. And maybe that can help, like you're saying there, getting the play call in faster, even if it's the same amount of verbiage. Talking faster helps sometimes. I would know.
You'd think there'd be a smarter way to condense it for the West Coast offense guys like Sean Payton. John Gruden's a great example of. I watch a lot of his YouTube content since he started doing that, signing up whatever he did with Barstool or whatever. I watched a lot of his content, and occasionally as he's going through his stuff, breaking stuff down, you'll hear him spit out plays. And boy, oh boy, Zach, are they long. They are long. And I think to myself, because every word in the play call as it comes through is telling a player in a position what exactly they're doing on that play. It's wild, but you'd still think there'd be a way from a human communication perspective to condense that even more, because like you said, I mean, that might be exaggerating a little bit, but 45 seconds to get the play call just spit out of your mouth, let alone for Bo Nix to then regurgitate it to the guys, then get to the line, then make your checks, and then set hut.
Yeah, it's hopefully Deanna, and thank you. I want to thank you. We took the comment off the screen, but thank you so much for your generous support as always. And maybe you're onto something. And it's going to be definitely interesting to see how they handle the play calling with Davis Webb now the OC.
We got Tucson Phil checking in. Thank you, brother. Good to see you on Facebook. Saying good evening, Chad, Zach, and Deacon Scott. Is Nick Gargiulo still a Bronco? I really like his play. Yes, he is. He is still under team control. I think because I got to remind myself of something real quick. I think because he was waived and then re-signed to the practice squad as a rookie in 2024, he becomes a exclusive rights free agent this year. So he missed all of this past season because of his ACL. But either way, I'm not sure exactly the classification without researching it here live. It's either exclusive rights or RFA, but I'm pretty sure it's exclusive rights this time. So he's still under team control. He's an option, but you don't know how the big guys are going to recover from injuries like that.
Exactly. And I think the Broncos were betting on him to be something in the interior offensive line, maybe the successor for Ben Powers, or maybe someone that could compete at center. I don't know, but he was kind of being hyped in training camp in the preseason before going down. It's kind of a shame there. But yeah, he'll be a Bronco in 2026 and hopefully competing for a spot along the offensive line.
And that hype was for good reason. He was, after basically kind of redshirting his rookie year, on the practice squad. By the way, it's not like they released him and moved on. They cut him, kept him around on the squad. So he was with the team all year long, competing. He had a pretty big turnaround year 2 training camp, and he was impressing people, man. He was on his way to maybe not, Zach, challenging a highly paid, entrenched starter like Ben Powers for an actual starting job, but like giving you some real peace of mind that you got a good rotational backup guy if and when the situation demands it. Turns out situation did demand it. So that was the Broncos' first plan at backup left guard, Zach, before Gargiulo went down, and they had to default to their backup right tackle, Alex Palczewski, as the swing guard for last year.
I think you're absolutely correct with that in terms of how they configured Gargiulo last season and where he fits now. But you can never have too many good bodies along the OL. So, like I said, hopefully he gets back healthy and he competes for some backup spot.
Yes, sir. Let's hope he has some good fortune with his recovery, Phil. That's for sure, buddy. Michaela jumping in again from the tippy top. The ladies of MHH flexing hard, and we love them. We love you so much. Michaela says, my wish list in free agency as follows: Kyle Pitts, Waddle, Devin Lloyd. Oh, man, how awesome would it be to get a Devin Lloyd? I loved him coming out of Utah. Hall or Algier. Thoughts? So Breece Hall or Algier is the two running backs. I like them. I think, man, that would make for one hell of a veteran offseason edition class, Zach. Probably not going to be able to get them all, though, right? So Kyle Pitts, every single year, he's rumored to be going this way, that way, etc. Waddle, you're going to have to trade, though, if you want her. How are you feeling about her wish list, which is awesome? That's why it's called a wish list.
I love it, man. It kind of gives me the tingles, and you're right. It would remind me of the 2014, excuse me, the famous offseason John Elway had then when he loaded up on all the star talent. Some of those are more attainable, like Kyle Pitts, let's say, or Algier, or even Breece Hall. Jalen Waddle, though, let's not forget the Broncos did peek in on him at the trade deadline. He was deemed too expensive. If the Dolphins want 2 first-round picks, I don't think George and Sean Payton are biting. But a first-round pick, they can maybe work with that. And I'm right there with you, though. Address the biggest needs and go into the draft, allowing true BPA, best player available at 20.
It's really interesting. I'll be very interested to see if Lloyd actually hits free agency. So he's scheduled to be unrestricted. But, guys, that mythical coverage linebacker who can also play the run that we've been searching for how many years in Denver – he is him. I mean, if you just look, Zach, first 3 years in the NFL, he's over triple-digit tackles every single year. He also had 3 picks as a rookie. He's got 9 total interceptions as a 4-year veteran, 5 of which, Zach, came last season, and he earned second-team All-Pro honors. And what's crazy about it is it was also the only season that he didn't get over triple digits in tackles, but he did miss 2 games. Nevertheless, Devin Lloyd, man, if he were actually available, him with Dre Greenlaw as the presumptive starting duo, I could get really excited about that while I go like this and cross my fingers that Dre's going to have a little bit better health injury luck in 2026.
Yeah, that's a good point you bring up, Chad, that some of these players could just re-sign with their current team. There's no guarantee they're going to even reach the open market or the Broncos are going to get a chance to acquire them. But I really like where you're leaning here, Michaela. Boost your offense, help out Bo Nix, and fill your biggest weakness on defense, and that's inside linebacker. Love it, and thank you for the support as always.
We love you, my friend. Thank you so much. We also have here, we're almost out of time. We're coming up on 50 minutes. So any burning topics, questions, supers, get them in the chat. Greg, with a second super chat tonight, dear member, OG, say, I'm still learning this YouTube stuff after Facebook. I think it's so much better for podcasts, entertainment, edification, whatever you want to call it. YouTube is infinitely better for the end user. Facebook has become just absolute trash. You don't see any of the things as a user that you actually want to see. Instead of logging on and jumping on your homepage and seeing what your friends and family are posting and what all your favorite pages are posting, you get ad, reel from a page or a meme that you don't even follow or know what it is. Oh, and there's what mom posted last night. Okay. Reel, ad. It's like absolutely ridiculous. I'm surprised, Zach, to this day with how badly they botched their algorithm that anyone still uses Facebook at all. And the only reason we still stream there is because we do have many dedicated members that's where they like watching the show. But Greg, I'm glad that you're making the transition to YouTube, buddy, because I'm telling you, Facebook, the way it's going, it's losing publishers and pages, and it's losing users. So pretty soon it's going to be pretty much empty anyway.
I can't remember the last time I logged on to Facebook for a non-business reason. I think my profile picture is still my 24/7 headshot. That's how long it's been. And there's no need for it. You once asked me, Chad, offline about a year ago, maybe a year and a half, how much of your content do you consume on YouTube? And it was like 50% then. Now it's 100%. I am on YouTube all the time. And like you were saying, it's definitely the superior option.
No doubt about it. So glad you're making that transition, Greg. Thank you, big dog. And real quick, a correction on Gargiulo. He's under contract in 2026. He'll be an RFA restricted free agent 2027. So that's really good news, guys. Let's keep our fingers crossed that he has good recovery on that knee. Greg, love you, big dog. All right, guys, let's see what some of the members have to say here before we dip out. Todd Ostendorf saying, honestly, I had kind of hoped that VJ would get a head coaching job, because that would give the Broncos another pick this year and another pick next year, Zach.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier, Todd. I mean, I'm happy that he's staying for continuity, and he's still a good coach if he just gets some of the corrections we saw after the bye, some of those issues corrected. But I would have liked having 2 third-round picks if he would have left. It would have been a nice consolation prize.
We got Pearl jumping in saying we need a receiver that does not drop balls. You can say that again, sister, because it was pretty bad. I mean, only one team was worse than the Broncos in 2025 when it came to drops. Broncos had 43 drops, and unfortunately, Zach, it persisted into the playoffs.
How about 2 receivers that don't drop passes? Pearl, they need to go all in, not nickel and diming around Bo Nix anymore, not using duct tape and gum to work up the supporting cast around Bo Nix. They need to go all in. If that means acquiring multiple top-end receivers, so be it. Can never have too many.
We've got also, let's see, where did it go? Mblex saying, how many first-round picks do the Jets have right now? I'm doing let's see, 2026 first round. They've got 2 firsts, one that came from the Colts. Yeah. They've got 2 seconds, a third, a fourth, 3 fifths, a 6, 2 6, 3 sevens. So they've got a war chest, Zach, and they could even stockpile more if they deal a few more assets away. It'll be interesting to see how they approach that.
They're still the Jets, though. And the Jets are always going to Jets, Chad, no matter what they have. They don't have a quarterback either, so that sucks.
Sue Gibson, shout out. It's great to see you in the chat. Let me see what else we got here from the members. Yeah, I hear you, Pearl. She says, my problem, I hate both the Seahawks and the Pats. I know. Agreed. It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. But I don't know, man. In almost any other context, there's basically 4 teams that I cannot root for that are in the AFC in the Super Bowl. 3 AFC Wests, right? We all know. And the Patriots. In every other instance, I wired myself as a child of the 80s to just root for the AFC team, just because the NFC had such a long reign of Super Bowl dominance that I just, as a guy always rooting for the underdog, Zach, I'm going, AFC, let's go. But in this instance, I'm sorry, as much as I also loathe the Seahawks, I cannot wish for a Patriots Super Bowl victory.
I got to be honest, Pearl, my interest in even watching the Super Bowl this year is very minuscule because it's a lose-lose. Either you're going to have Seahawks fans celebrating or Patriots fans celebrating, and they're going to be equally as obnoxious. So I don't know. Whatever happens, happens, I guess.
All right, guys, we're going to grab a few messages for you. And then while Zach's going over those messages, I'm going to take one last look at the chat here, and don't go anywhere.
Tremendous installment, as always, of the Mile High Huddle podcast. If you're not doing so, please follow us on X at the MHH Pod. You can follow the main account on X at Mile High Huddle, Chad at Chad and Jensen, myself at Kelberman NFL, and Scott, our producer, at Scout Kennedy. If you guys want some merch like we're rocking each and every single podcast, check out MHHmerch.com and get you some. If you haven't done so yet, please drop us a like at Facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod. You can follow us on Instagram at Mile_High_Huddle. Be sure also, if you haven't done so already, to join the new MHH Discord channel. The link is in the description below. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you're leaving your football priest a 5-star review for a chance to win some merch each and every single month. But if anything, y'all, please, very important as always, that you subscribe, you like, you share this video and every video you see on the MHH channel. It really helps us grow and reach more Broncos fans just like you.
All right, 2 more from the members. We got Raj, the string guy, saying, Zach, is there anyone in the draft you would trade up for? Broncos, of course, sitting at pick 30 overall.
I don't really have a specific name for you right now, Raj. I'm not in full draft mode quite yet. I can give you a macro answer. We talked about Sadiq earlier on this podcast. I wouldn't trade up for him, but he would be an option at 30. Basically, any wide receiver they deem as a blue chip #1 long-term guy. I don't care what it costs. If they think that guy could be that guy, or a running back, let's say, that's who I want them to trade up for. I'll have a more specific answer for you, though, as we get closer to the draft.
You know, like, depending on how the board falls, I'd like to see some Jeremiah Love. I wouldn't mind. I don't know about trading all the way up from 30, though. It would be pricey to get all the way up there. But yeah, good question, buddy. We're almost out of time, though. Ronk jumping in to say, I'm only trading. He's making a trade to improve the skill positions. Ronk is only trading for Justin Jefferson because he wanted him over Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb back in that, what was it, Zach, 2020 draft? Yep. Wasn't it 2020? Wasn't 2021. Yeah. So we'd love to see it, dude. And if it's true that the Vikings are looking to start shedding some personnel to free up cap space, make that phone call. George Payton, Zach, he's got all the ins there with that franchise, but I just can't see them with still the need to develop their franchise quarterback, that they're kind of left no choice but to kind of see it through. You're going to deprive Bo Nix of Cortland Sutton, so to speak, but an even better Cortland Sutton. That's what the Vikings would be. Go draft another one? You already have the best wide receiver, arguably, in the NFL.
Give him Jarrett Stidham in like a first and a third and see if they'll bite with George Payton doing the negotiating. They won't. This is not going to happen. I've been pushing for it on Twitter as well. It'd be a Madden-level blockbuster trade pairing JJ with Cortland Sutton. There's too much dead money on the Viking side. JJ's contract would be a prohibitive factor in all this. I'd love to see him here, but regardless, the Broncos can aim just a little lower. Garrett Wilson is still a damn good receiver, and he's a lot more feasible to acquire.
Man, how cool would it be to see Wilson catching passes from Bo Nix in the orange and blue? Would be awesome. All right, guys, mile high salute and a special shout out to all the great Super Chat superstars, supporters, and dear members helping us keep these lights on. Like the Papa Bear dropping his super before we even go live. Sam Bam, the Lady D gifted memberships. Shout out again to David Youngkin, 5 months a member. Shannon Mills dropping supers. Greg Smith with a couple of supers. George Fox on Facebook. Ralph Brayskirtle on Facebook. Zeus McPeak. Taylor Christensen, the Lady D with multiple generous supers. We got Maddington 85. The Duchess with multiple generous supers. The original Dizzy D. We got Tucson Phil. And I think that covers it for tonight. So love you guys. In case you missed it, Zach and I will see you Wednesday. The MHH pod is coming back 4 nights a week with the Mile High Insiders guys turning their lives to other pursuits. Zach and I, we're taking back Wednesdays, which is what it used to be. If you guys remember, we went Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday for years. And then when Zach and I said, let's go do this radio thing that we were offered, let's give it a shot. We're like, well, doing daily radio, maybe we need to cut out one of the pods. So we cut out Wednesdays so that all of the gut reactions still covered our days. And so here we are, Zach. We're taking it back. So together we'll see everybody Wednesday night, but the members get a special edition tomorrow. Kelberman's Korner, noon Mountain, 2 p.m. Eastern. Have a great week, everybody.
Hot takes that hold water. I will see you then. And then Chad and I will see you Wednesday for more of the MHH podcast. Have a great start to your week. Take care. And as always, go Broncos.